The most basic requirement, both to be an effective churchwarden and to be an effective vicar, or bishop for that matter, is to be a committed follower of Jesus Christ. Notice that I don't say good follower or even a faithful follower, and certainly not an outstanding follower of Christ. Fortunately, we can all rely on the grace of God to compensate for our limitations. In fact, for me, that's almost a requirement in itself, to know your limitations and to rely on the grace of God to compensate. But my point is, an effective churchwarden exercises a vital role in a congregation, in modelling something about the church, about the heart of the church, about what lies at the centre of church, which is the commitment to Jesus, our daily intention to walk in his ways, to follow him. But secondly, let me say something about courage. My friends, this is not an easy season to be a churchwarden. This is not a time for faint-hearted churchwardens, any more than it's a time for faint-hearted clergy. I want to encourage you to see this as a privilege, actually, to have a part to play in this period of huge transition as the Church of England reshapes itself for mission in the 21st century. It's actually a wonderful thing to be called to serve God at such a time as this. Together we will have to be courageous, bold in taking risks, in our readiness to experiment, to think new thoughts and imagine new ways. I don't mean that the old ways, the inherited ways, have no future or no value, but it is clear, isn't it, that they're not going to be enough in themselves to serve us well going forward. The world is changing and we have to change with it. But change is not easy, and it takes courage to manage change. That's the second thing. And then I want to say something thirdly about loyalty, or I could say trust. Most congregations thrive most when relationships between key leaders are good. And that includes the way that churchwardens relate to each other and the way that you relate to your incumbent and your PCC. Of course, there are limits, and your first obligation is always loyalty to God. So I'm not asking you to support your clergy in any and all circumstances. In fact, if they are out of order and you don't call them on it, who will? But I do know how much it meant to me as a parish priest to know that my churchwardens had my back covered. I know how much it meant to me to know that they were not grumbling about me behind my back. How important it was to me when they were up front with me about my failings and mistakes and spoke to me face to face about those things. So those are things which I think are probably true in every diocese of the Church of England at present. Those are three things which I reckon make a good churchwarden anywhere: prayer, courage and loyalty.